Coming up only to show you wrong, and to know you is hard, and we wonder. To know you all wrong, we won.
In forensics, of course, you need to remain objective. You don't want to allow the work that you do on a daily basis affect you in your personal life. However, that sounds great in theory, but in practice, it's an entirely separate thing. I mean, where do you say, okay, well, I'm not going to think about work from, 4:49 p.m. to 8:30 in the morning, or I am going to think about it. It's impossible to do. So, I mean, on one hand, I guess one of the ways of maintaining sanity in an insane place, is it's been described, is to develop a sort of wall, of a gallows humor, maybe. It's been called a number of different things, but it's finding humor in things that are certainly not humorous. However, at the same time, you can laugh or you can cry. And it comes down to self-preservation, and it's a job that you have to do every single day. It's a moment, it's an hour in your life, it's an 8-hour shift in your week that is the worst moment in an individual's entire life. And if you allow yourself to think of it that way, then it just becomes a burden that is terrible to bear. To turn off your emotions, or turn on your emotions when you leave work, but turn them off when you get to work, it's not something that's always, it's not possible to do that. To use the clock. Okay, now I can be sad, but now I can't be sad. You can't do it. So when I was in graduate school for forensics, one of the things that we were always taught was, you got to let it go. Like, you're there to do a job, just let it go. You don't want to research the people, you don't want to know what happened. And that's how I came out of school. Like, this is the way it is. I cannot, I will not. And I kind of violated that immediately. An interesting sequence of events had occurred, and my dad died under suspicious circumstances. And it wasn't until I was in my own house being ignored, as I would do all the time, even though I had these thoughts of these victims, like they'd be grieving, and I would just have my blinders on. I don't see them, I don't hear them crying, I don't hear any of this. And I found myself on the opposite side of the fence, my house full of police, full of crime scene people walking by me like I don't see her, and I was actively doing the job, just a different jurisdiction. And I'm like, talk to me, like, what is going on? And they had gone through the same training that I probably went to school with some of them, for all I know. And from that moment on, I was like, no more. This is ridiculous.
I do more work than Tommy and all of them put together. Man, I sleep so good. I'm gonna sleep in 10 seconds. Oh. I'm gonna do it right down the road here on that one clear spot where we stopped. There's that guy's grave, and we moved down.
In B or A?
No, in B, but on the other side of B, not where we've been
Okay.
doing. I'm on this side.
Okay.
That's where we left that one. I think on the flags.
fairly religious. You know, I don't know if you can, you know, I have Bible verse tattooed on me. And you know, I think I see death a little bit differently than how most people see it. I understand it, and I welcome it when somebody passes along. I'm legitimately happy for them because they've moved on to a better chapter of their life, you know. As a Christian, I do believe in heaven and things like that, so I do believe that they are up there, you know, living a much, you know, well, not living, but, you know, having a much more pleasant experience than they ever could have here. When my grandfather passed back in October, you know, I was kind of the one that, you know, comforted everyone and brought it all together, because I was really the only one that was keeping it together during the entire process. Everyone else was, you know, pretty much falling apart. And, you know, of course that's understandable, but, you know, yeah, it definitely helps me deal with things, and I think it helps me help others as well.
So if you were to ask, if you were just to walk outside and ask somebody, what do you think it means to be dead? You would probably get, and I can almost predict because I ask my students this, oh, when a person stops breathing, or they might go a little bit further, there's rigor mortis, or they're cold, or, you know, they're stiff, or there's decomposition. But generally, it's the moment of death that people are focused on. You need to think about death is not a this minute versus that minute. It is or it isn't. You are but you aren't. You are or you aren't type scenario. Death is a process.
You know, it's all part of the grieving process for them. A lot of people get upset, you know, that's understandable. And, you know, the way they tie it in with religion is, of course, you know, they see it as, you know, that person's up there as well. But I just don't think they see it entirely that way. I think they handle it, you know, more emotionally than spiritually. And I tend to disconnect myself emotionally and connect myself more to the spiritual aspect of it.
One of the ways of maintaining sanity in an insane place.
Sometimes you'll get people that, you know, want to just sit down and, you know, share their story with you about, you know, their life or the deceased life, you know, and that's just part of the grieving process.